I'm going to start from my childhood. Okay. I loved reading those Manorama yearbooks where you used to get census data. It was an advertisement of data camp, and I just went on that, and I loved looking at the graphs, the visualization. And I was like, let's try this out. Oh, इसने तो इतनी मेहनत नहीं की थी, इसको भी मिल गया is a very common thing. I know people who specialized in blockchain who are not doing blockchain anymore in their career. It's okay if your career is taking a different path. What I do every night is while sleeping, I think of how my day went. I think of what all I did and what new thing did I learned about myself. Hackathons is somewhere where I learned a lot about thing that my father taught me in college. जिंदगी में अगर बड़ा बनना है तो बेशरम बनो. I got hate comments like, you guys don't deserve to win this competition. I don't know why you are even trying. I'm like, guys.
All right. So, hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast show named Beyond Conversations, a podcast show which is for the students and by the students. In today's episode, I have Aditya with me. Hi, Aditya. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm Aditya. I'm currently working as a business analyst with an ad tech company. And prior to this, I did my master's in engineering management, worked for a couple of years as a software engineer with a company. And I also did my bachelor's in computer engineering from Pune Institute of Computer Technology. I'm someone who really loves interacting with data, people, and business. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm exploring at the moment.
Mhm. So, this episode is again going to be very exciting because I wanted to do this episode for a very long time, which is sort of generic in nature, in which we talk to people about how to build their careers. Now, it need not be specifically towards techno management or how to do a master's or how to do how to get a job or something. I just wanted this episode to be very generic, and I'm so glad that it's happening over here. So, let's begin the conversation actually from the techno management space that you are currently operating in. So, what would you like to talk about your experience so far, and how did you get into this?
So I was actually always interested in business and management. I was exploring that in my bachelor's. I worked with a startup as a campaign manager for a couple of months, and that I learned so much from the CEOs, CTOs. They were from our college, and then I thought maybe I should explore an MBA, but then I got into data science. So I was continuously exploring. Even in data science, I did side projects. I tried to lead teams, looked for internships that could give me that exposure. Even when I joined my in corporate, it's not you join as a software engineer, but you always try to look for, you take initiative, you ask for leadership roles, ownership. Taking ownership of your own projects is the first step towards leadership. That's what I learned. And at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm also working as a data product manager while I work as a business analyst at this company. So I manage the data side of the product. So yeah, that's something that I'm learning. You make, you will make mistakes, but you also learn so many things in the process. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I got 3 points while you were talking about this. So first is working on side projects, second is leadership and taking initiatives, and third is networking with people. So I specifically want to understand about all of these 3 points and how did they help you move ahead in your career and how important are they are like with respect to someone who is in the third year, fourth year, or basically any year of their college.
Yeah, I mean, so the first step, I think first thing I'll talk about is networking, because I believe that it's very, very important. The people you surround yourself with, the people you talk to, I think they help you grow. I was very fortunate to be surrounded by people who were interested in business data. I mean, in college, everyone is working on so many different things, and there is so much to learn from each person. Like if you treat each person as an open book, there's just so much to learn from each of them. So that's something good. And also, like when I came here to the US, and I needed help, I always reached out to my past friends, who we call network, because they are your first degree network. And I know that although I have not been in touch with them, I know they will reach out. I can reach out to them and they'll help me, and if they do the same to me, I would help them out. So that's building your network. It's helped me so far. Whatever opportunities I've gotten is through the network. And secondly, I think you mentioned about how to maneuver the side projects. Yeah. So I think in third year, fourth year of your college, you are always lost. everyone is doing something. Someone's doing competitive coding, someone's developing projects, someone's into data science, someone's in blockchain. So it's very easy to get swayed. You should be aware of what's happening around you. You should be aware of, what's the trend. uh, but at the same time, you need to be self-aware of what your strengths are. You need to know what your calling is. Try out new things, get your hands dirty. That's the time when you can actually explore. And you might feel like, oh, is it taking any direction? It does not have to take any direction. You are just in your third year, fourth year. You haven't even started your career. You don't know where your side projects are going to help me. I know where my side projects have helped me, although
Hmm.
it's not in the realm I'm working in right now. But I know
Hmm.
somewhere I have developed certain transferable skills that I can apply here.
Right.
And which was the third point. I'm sorry, I missed that one.
It's about leadership, like leadership and like
Yeah,
taking initiates.
ownership.
Yeah,
Right. So, when you are starting off your career, you might feel like, oh, I'm not leading a team. You don't have to lead a team. You all you need to do is take ownership. You need to say that you need to treat your project like it's your own baby, or you're nurturing the project, and you need to be passionate about it. The moment you're passionate about it, that leadership just and each and every person has a different kind of leadership style. So in that process, you also explore, okay, this is the how I lead. Maybe you are more authoritative, you would like to change it a little bit. You're more democratic. So the you kind of become self-aware of how you lead, how you interact with people, uh, how you push yourself in order to achieve your goal, and how you work with other people.
absolutely.
So it's
Yeah, yeah.
just about taking ownership of your project.
So again, in throughout this answer, I caught a couple of points. The first point is that when you're in your third or fourth year, you need not specifically like, do side projects or do everything that sort of aligns with your career. You might just want to go out and explore, which is something different that I've heard from you for the first time, even yesterday also when we had a call. And like this sort of seems funny because third year people reach out to me asking for like, what are the projects that they should work on, what are the things that they should do to land an internship. And the people in my batch are right now preparing for jobs, and it's been just a week since the placement season has started, and I can see a lot of chaos around. This is the first point that I wanted to mention. The second point that you mentioned is about self awareness, knowing what you bring to the table. And again, this is something that not a lot of people around me are aware. So I just want you to zoom on all of like these 2 points in specific, and just get into the depths of what do you mean by like just doing side projects, because a lot of people don't know this because they don't know what they bring to the table. So how would you answer this?
Okay, I think it firstly starts with what interests you. For instance, or just like exploring. You don't know what interests you. Fine, try something out. I didn't know what interests me. I tried competitive coding. I didn't like it much. I knew others were doing it, but it was not my calling. And I then started doing software development. I liked developing softwares. Then over time, I was like, okay, maybe this is not something that I really, really want. I found out data science. It was an advertisement of data camp, and I just went on that, and I loved looking at the graphs, the visualization. And I was like, let's try this out. And that's when I realized maybe I am truly passionate about it, and I worked on developing those skills. I met people who were in that realm. I went for networking events, like I went for an Nvidia networking event. I met people, and when you meet people, you realize, oh, you don't know anything. Like that, there is this curve, like when you're learning initially, I know so much, and then suddenly you feel like I don't know much. So you go through that journey. And in it's just about exploring those different domains. You might feel like, oh no, I need to specialize in one specific domain. You don't have to. I know people who
Hmm.
specialized in blockchain who are not doing blockchain anymore in their career. It's okay
Okay.
if your career is taking a different path. You don't have to
Yeah.
do it in that
Yeah.
direction. So just enjoy the journey. It's You're learning right now. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. I love to think about it as a game, which is a like let's say 10-year game, like with something that you're doing in your 20s. Eventually, in your 30s, you might not do end up doing the same thing,
Absolutely.
and these
Yeah.
10 years are entirely for trying out new things.
Yeah. Like my original plan was to get into data science right after college. It didn't happen. I was working as a software engineer. I worked mostly on data engineering, migration, low code platforms. But that's a skill that I still use. Like I didn't know that. I would be using those skills here. So you never know when that skill would be useful. I used to work as a campaign manager, I mentioned, and that's where I learned how to market. That's where I learned how to speak with the public, and that's something that I still use. Whenever someone calls me for a presentation, I think I'm mostly up for it. Like, yeah, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't
Right.
know where those
Mhm.
side gigs really help you. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And then at the same time, answering this question, like how do you build self-awareness about, like, okay, this is what I like, or this is one where I do what I don't want to do, this is where my skill sets don't align. How do you position yourself in such a way that you leverage your skills to maximum extent, or you don't have to position yourself? Like, how does that process look like?
I think this is my strength. So I am quite self-aware. I'm actually quite self-critical. According to my father, I'm the most self-critical person in this world. I am like, I beat myself up for the smallest of mistakes. But I'm
Mhm.
aware of my weaknesses and more aware of what my strengths are. And I have been very fortunate to have friends who remind me of my strengths. That look, you are good at this. They are not the kind of friends who will put you on a pedestal like, man, you're the best. They are like, they'll tell you, look, you're good at it, you should hone, and I think you should pursue your career in something like this. And I remember when I was working with a friend on a non-profit project, he mentioned like, man, you're made for this. You're made to build products. And that's when I realized, okay, maybe I am like it, maybe I like it's someone who's reassuring what your thoughts are. I still don't know if I'm great at making products, but the fact those words that he used are still so powerful, they motivated me. So it's very important to have people around you who remind you of that. That's very important. And reflect every day. Was your day good? Was your if try journaling. I'm not going to advocate journaling because I don't. It's very tough for me to take out my notebook and write things down. But what I do every night is, while sleeping, I think of how my day went. I think of what all I did and what new thing did I learned about myself. So that's very important that I do. I talk a lot with my friends. I learn from them what their strengths are, and they may not mention something about you, but you may sense something that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
said about you that is your strength. So
exactly.
it's those, you have
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
very alert about,
yeah.
those things.
It's, I love to think about it this way, that something that is obvious to you is not that obvious to someone, and vice versa.
Absolutely,
So because
absolutely,
of
yeah,
that, even if you tell your friends and go out and tell people, like, maybe I need, like, maybe you're too good at this, maybe you should try this, which might be obvious to you, like, okay, I can see this from an external perspective,
yeah,
but they themselves don't know about it, and you might end
yeah,
up saying something that totally changes the way they think about their career.
yeah.
So yeah, that is
Yeah.
definitely insightful.
And it also happens like, I feel like this, like when people are praising you so much, like, oh man, you're so good at this, somewhere
Uh-huh.
you feel guilty, like, I'm not really that good at it. But then you reach a point where you're like, all right, if so many
True, true.
people are saying this, maybe I am good at
Maybe
it.
it is true.
Maybe it is true. So you just got to believe
Absolutely.
it. So
Absolutely.
that happens a lot of times.
Absolutely. And then, like, just zooming out from this entire conversation and talking about your journey specifically, like you mentioned that you were interested in data science, and then right now you're a data product manager, which technically isn't data science, but it's still somewhere around technology, business, and data. And this is the first time that I've heard this term, in fact, data product manager, which basically involves everything. So how did this entire journey happen? Like, how, what can you tell us more about it?
Okay, that's a really long journey. I'll have to. Do you want it from the beginning?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would you
From
like?
the,
All right.
let's say when you were in PICT, and what are the events like? Okay, you
Okay.
did this project, this went well, this didn't go well. So yeah.
I'm going to start from my childhood. Okay. I
Okay.
loved reading those Manorama yearbooks where you used to get census data, and just different statistics. I loved reading those numbers. Just I used to look where my state stands in this statistic, and I
Yeah.
used to enjoy that. Just I used to peruse over them for a long time. I didn't know why I enjoyed it so much. I used to love data representation even in school. Uh, Although I hated maths, that was one subject that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I eventually, when I saw that, this is in third year, there are advertisements, targeted advertisements, and I don't know how it targeted me, but I saw an advertisement of everyone was doing Andrew NG at that time, and I had an
Mm-hmm.
aversion for math, for
Okay.
calculus. I used to ask, is there calculus in this? Is there
Mm-hmm.
statistics in this? I don't want to do it. So I had a major aversion for it.
Mm-hmm.
But the data camp course was so good. And I'm not like,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like an advertisement for data camp, but I'm not advertising. It's just, it looked very easy to me. So I started off
Yeah.
doing all of that. It's like, it's basic Python, learning new
Mm-hmm.
libraries, and I love doing that. In the
Mm-hmm.
process, I realized, okay, I'm enjoying this. Then I said, there is some statistics course as well. If I've done
Mm-hmm.
this, I should try
Let me
statistics.
try that.
Then I
Yeah.
started,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I started enjoying statistics. So
Mm.
what I realized is, as my skills improved, I realized I was more capable of tackling those bigger challenges.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
eventually, I started doing machine learning. Then machine learning started seeming easy. Then I was like,
Mm.
okay, deep learning. Then deep learning, I learned a lot. I realized that I don't enjoy it fully because it doesn't come
Mm-hmm.
intuitively to me. So but I still
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it a lot.
Mm.
So that's how I realized, okay, what I like, what I don't like. I really liked numbers, I liked statistics. So these are something
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to apply numbers to business. These are some
Yeah.
things that I realized. However,
Mm-hmm.
life does
Mm.
not, plan things according to what you
Yeah.
want. I wanted to
Yeah.
go for data science. I wanted to do an MS in data science. I was so passionate about it. I think we
Yeah.
had like a informal special interest group as well in college. We
Mm-hmm.
used to like talk about data and stuff like that, which is really
Mm-hmm.
fun back then. And
Yeah.
we used to take part in hackathons. Hackathons is somewhere where I learned a lot about
Mm-hmm.
how to actually do explorative data analysis and stuff like that. Eventually I moved on to my I went for my software engineering. The first
Mm-hmm.
task that I think one of the first few tasks that I'd gotten was making a PPT for something. And I was like, I'm an engineer, why am I making PPTs?
Yeah.
But what I realized is, when my manager said that, when by making this PPT, this is the impact that you're creating, that motivated me a lot. I realized it's not something that's trivial. It's going to be shown to clients. The clients are going to learn something about the product. I learned so much about how to market a product to the client, how to teach them how to use the product, and that's something that I didn't realize would be so useful. And and that was the moment I realized, whatever job you get, whatever is assigned to you, do it with your whole heart. You don't know where it's going to be useful. So I was always eager to learn the new concepts that I was given. I became great at whatever I was thrown at. I felt my strength was that I can swim wherever I'm thrown at. So that's something that I realized. Again, I was still in the realm of data. Somewhere I was doing data migration, I was doing data integration. My analytic skills that were useful in my college, I finally did a project on NLP in my office. So that was quite, yeah, yeah. So that skill was again transferable here. So you don't know how. Eventually I did engineering management because I felt like I would be, I want to be in the realm of engineering and management and business. Yeah. Now in engineering management, you realize, all right, you cannot directly become a product manager. They always want people who have an experience in as a product manager. I didn't really think about it, like, okay, I thought I'll crack any place, like, it's easy. But they want some transferable skill. My roommate reminded me, you are good at data. Till then I was ignoring that fact that I'm good at data. He's like, look, man, you are good at data. You should target these kind of roles. So I was like, all right, let me look at data analysts, business analysts, data leads, or data product manager. And eventually, I cracked a role. And when I came to this company, I realized, all right, I now understand how I fit into this jigsaw puzzle. That like I'm that missing cog in the wheel. So I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I used the term correctly, but yeah, that was a very long answer, and I hope I didn't bore.
No, no. So talking about this again was a very insightful answer, but then talking about one specific thing that you mentioned over here is about transferable skills. So I think a lot of students, and even when you mentioned like work on some side projects or try exploring different domains, you definitely mean to say that capture those skills. Or when you are, let's say, selling yourself to someone or selling your portfolio resume to someone, it should be in such a way that you represent those transferable skills to the recruiter. So what exactly are you talking about in these transferable skills, and how do you present it to, like, because right now also people are like, attending interviews and then all of those things. So I think this answer might help them as well.
All right. So if you're applying for a PM role, there's something called as PRDs, product requirement document. Yeah. So you need to. So they are like, you need to be able to build this. Now, in my case, I have written presentations. I have written documentations. I can say that I can frame it in such a way that, yeah, I have worked on this, but it just wasn't called PRD. Here it's called PRD. It's about framing your skills. So maybe you, in your business it's called something, in the other business it's called something else. It's just about how you frame it to the recruiter. So you have to tailor your CV according to what the recruiter wants. You need to be able to get into their psyche, think of how they are looking at your resume, and honestly that's very difficult to understand how they are seeing your resume. I know people who haven't gotten, look, the job mark, you not getting a job is not a representation of your abilities. It's just, sometimes it's just dumb luck. I know people who were in the top 10 of an aptitude test, but they got rejected because that company felt like whenever we choose a top 10 we have a very lower retention rate, so they were like so that's something that's so random, and it can happen to anyone. So it's just about, knowing how to frame it, your skill for a specific industry, for a specific niche.
Yeah, the thing that you mentioned again over here is that the whole recruitment process might seem dumb, it might seem something out of luck, and it's very randomized, like you mentioned. I think this is the one thing that I want my batch to hear, that right now, like, it's like I mentioned, it's hardly been 7 days, and I can see anxiety all around within the people around me. And like, I just want to understand, like, how does the future look like? Because you were in the same college, like, you went through the same or similar journeys, project, side project, whatever the things are, and then eventually you are, let's say, 4 or 5 years ahead of all of us. So how does, like, the scenario for your batch look like, and whatever is your experience of working like on side projects in startups and all of those things, tell you about, like, should how should the environment be, or how should students pursue it as a whole?
I think students should just realize like that is not the only pool of companies that are there in this world. You are living in a bubble. You are just seeing, oh, there is this one company that's coming, that keeps coming every year, so you keep hearing that. But if you just expand your horizon a little bit, you will know that, oh, there are other companies, other startups. The startup economy in India is booming right now, so just be patient. I know people who got a job like 3 months in, 4 months in, but once everyone starts at the same time once they get a job. I mean, you have one whole year. You need to be a little patient. Everyone gets it at the end. It's just you need to keep tweaking your resume all the time. You need to look at what others are doing, what others did right, and stuff like that. So
Absolutely.
that's one thing that I'd say. Secondly, leverage your strengths. Know what your strengths are. My strength wasn't aptitude tests. Let me be very honest. Aptitude test was never my strength because there were so many people who were good at it. My strength was cracking interviews. I knew how to talk to an interviewer. I was pretty good at studying companies and knowing about their products. So that's something that they really loved. And other people focus more on that technical
The
interviews. So
test,
they
yeah, the
focus,
test of it, yeah.
yeah, the test. And once they do, they start focusing on, oh, this is the algorithm question that they'll ask. I have to say that my strength is DSA. When they asked me what is my strongest subject, I said object oriented programming and DBMS because that's the easiest. So
Yeah.
they asked me easy questions and I was able to crack it. Like you have to sometimes play it smart. I knew I had that interview skill. I was discussing this with my friend. He's like, bro, I cracked every aptitude. I just couldn't crack any interview. I was like, I cracked one aptitude and I cracked one interview. So it's about that. You need to know what your skills are, and if there is a gap, you solve it. You ask people who have done this in the past. That's all. And just be patient. It's a long journey, man. You don't know where life is going to take you.
Absolutely. Again, like the same thing that we talked about previously, like it's a 10-year long game. Like even though some of the people might get a head start, but then again it's a long race. Like like everyone is planning to do a career for about 40 years. So then it's a long race, and then you never know. Like you mentioned, you might start off as something else, you might end up in a role at something else. So it's just a very long process. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I never knew I'd be in this ad tech space ever. It
Yeah.
was because my roommate had worked in the ad tech space. He told me about how advertisement
And
technology works,
yeah.
and I was like, man, this is something that's incredible. Like, I didn't even realize this is happening behind the scenes while I'm using my phone.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that's something that really got me interested, and I didn't expect myself to be in this
Yeah.
industry ever. So that's how it is. Like, just relax. Everyone starts at the same point. Everyone has a different journey. You might feel like someone else is sprinting at this point, but just have patience. That's all.
Absolutely. And then again, one more point that I caught from this answer is that you mentioned like everyone is busy preparing for those tests and online assessments and all of those things. But then you mentioned one term about studying the companies is the first thing. And the second thing is focusing on the interviews or different aspects of like, the whole process as opposed to just considering one of it. So a lot of people around me, again, I don't see them actually like, checking this once that, what the skills that they bring to the table and do they actually align with the job role that the company is trying to bring or anything around that, and basically which involves studying the company and talking to the employees and everything. So what would you like to talk about this as well?
Look, I'll be very honest. In college, everyone's like they've spent that 4 years and they want to maximize their returns monetarily.
Absolutely.
Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody really cares about, oh, I'm going to learn something over here. It's only once you go into corporate, you're like, you realize, oh my God, there is very less scope for learning unless you make an effort. So it's everyone's trying to maximize their monetary returns, but what I'd say, yeah, which is good, like, which is fine, absolutely fine. You should do it, but also look out for what kind of journey you're going to have in that company. Ask the interviewer, these are my goals. What do you what is the company's direction going in, and stuff like that. What does this role look like where can I go in the next 5 to 10 years if I work in this company? That tells a lot about the company. So that way they know that you are thinking long term. And if that's something that excites you, then just go for it. Look for, I'd say, in early stage, look for learning opportunities. There's just so much to learn out there you don't know, and it's only once you step out you feel like, oh, you don't know much.
Absolutely. And then talking about one important aspect, like again, I just want to bring back those the point of side projects. Like especially when even I was in my third year and I see the juniors also, everyone talks about doing some side project. Like some people want to build it in technology, some people want to, let's say, work in research, some people want to do something else. And overall there is so much of confusion that I believe that there's no clarity about what kind of side project should you pick. So would you like to elaborate about like what exactly should students sort of look forward to when they are making up to like deciding to, like, let's say, work on something?
I think, okay, that's a tough question, because one thing is, like, in look for people who are doing something similar. Talk to seniors, talk to many seniors. Don't just talk to one senior who's your mentor. Talk to many seniors, because every senior is going to give you a different perspective, and that's going to confuse you, and that confusion is good. You need some that friction to make a decision. So talk to your seniors, talk to go for networking events. There is meetup. You will see, like, let's say you are interested in research, look for groups that are talking just about research. Look for groups that are just talking about data. Look for groups that are just talking about machine learning. So once you go there for those networking events, you know what others outside your college are
Others
doing.
are doing.
You
Exactly.
know what industry experts are doing, and you will know what kind of exciting work is going on, and you get inspiration
Absolutely.
from there. And
Yeah.
from there, you might get inspiration, you may not get inspiration. You just need to let it sit, and those ideas will flow. You can see some side projects online, you can try your hand at it. Read research papers. I think research papers are great inspiration. Most of the side projects that I came up with were from the research papers that I read. So And one thing, the research papers always make it look very easy. Sometimes it's just not feasible, especially with machine learning and stuff like that. It's expensive. You can't the GPUs are very expensive. So just be make sure that the side projects are not, they're cost efficient. So because you're students. So yeah, that's what I'd say about, how to go about. It's a process to decide what side project to do, but you should go through that process.
Absolutely. And then because of online communities, I guess it's become very easier to sort of tap into other people's work and then see what exactly they are doing and then connecting with them and just like building together as well. And then with Twitter and Discord and everything, it's become even more easier. Like after the pandemic also, I believe
Yeah, it's
a lot.
after, I mean, after a point, it's information overload. You have to be
Yeah.
selective. I'm like, oh my God, it's just so much information. You feel like you're not doing anything in life. Don't let it
Exactly,
overwhelm
exactly.
you.
That yeah. This is one thing that I've observed with a lot of people in my batch, and in fact, even I felt it, to be very honest. And I see some juniors also. Like there are some people working on this, some people working on that, and there's just so much of, and because the accessibility to someone else's work and life has become so easy, right? Because of LinkedIn, Instagram, and everything. So you just like if someone gets an opportunity someplace, you're like, अरे यार इसने तो इतनी मेहनत भी नहीं की थी फिर भी मिल गया. But like just it's become very transparent basically, and it's very easy to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, that thing that, oh, इसने तो इतनी मेहनत नहीं की थी, इसको भी मिल गया, is a very common thing. Nobody knows what your journey is. People are going to think that about you. You are going to think that about people. When you think that about people, just you need to also be cognizant of the fact that they have had their own journey. You don't know what they have done behind the scenes. So like on the exterior it may feel like, oh no, this guy is not done much. The more you interact with them, the more you get to know them at a deeper level, you'll understand why they got that. So
Okay.
there are many layers to it. Don't just take everything at face value. That's one thing that I've learned. I have judged people in the past, I'm not going to lie, and I feel bad about it today. Like, oh my God, this I judged about this person, but this guy's pretty good. He changed my whole perspective about him. So I try not to be judgmental about the other person. Although your instinct, that's just your primal instinct to be judgmental.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of control that and just say, like, look, I should not judge this guy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah.
Again, one last thing in like not really last thing. I don't know why did I say this. But then talking about your experience at Cornell MEM, again, I just want to zoom out from this perspective and just talk about your experience of engineering management and how is it like studying in an Ivy League school, and then you did it after 2 years of experience. So what was that entire thing about? And yeah,
I'm sorry, you want to know about how my Cornell MEM experience was
yeah,
after
Cornell
work?
experience, yeah, like
I think
after your work experience, you went to Cornell, so that whole thing.
yeah. So I honestly did not imagine I'll be going to Cornell. Uh, if you had asked me this an year back before I went to Cornell, I wouldn't have said that I'd go to Cornell. I'm so the experience over there was like, yeah, I met a lot of people who were smart, very diverse experience. At the surface level, everyone looks like they are like you. They are very normal. Uh, the moment you start getting to know them at a deeper level about their work, their past, what makes them them, you realize, all right, this person is pretty good
Yeah,
at what he's doing. So
yeah,
that's that's something that I really loved about Cornell. The people are very approachable. The alums are very good. There's a huge stress on entrepreneurship. Although it was a 9-month program, I did not get much opportunity to explore entrepreneurship, but I was very fortunate to be around teachers who were into entrepreneurship, and there were a lot of the e-cell over there is very good. So that's one thing. And it's all about the people, the courses was incredible. I've learned from professors who are friends with Nobel laureates, so it's like they become your
okay.
second degree network in a way. uh,
Yeah,
so that's something that's really exciting about that place. And you don't know, like, this person is like, a powerhouse, but you realize that only once you talk to them.
yeah, absolutely. Like I've heard this from a lot of people, and even I'm excited, looking forward to this journey in about, let's say, 1 year down the line. Like I'm very excited because I'm also applying for these schools, And like we've done a lot of podcasts with like guests from different universities as well. So this thing that they mentioned about flexibility and networking and just working with brilliant minds and learning from the best of best professors, I think it's very wholesome. It sounds very wholesome.
Yeah, I think there's one thing that my roommate had said really interesting. I said, uh, so I was contemplating between multiple universities, and I think I had chosen Cornell because the average experience was kind of 2.5 years work experience, and I was like, I felt like I have more to, like, I can, there is a lot of give and take that can happen because other colleges don't have an average experience of less than one or something. He changed my perspective on that, like, if you look at it that way, you will never learn. He's like, there is always something to learn from everyone, whether they're young or they're old or without any experience. And that really changed my perspective. So wherever you go, regardless of whether you go to an Ivy League, not Ivy League, any college you go to, just be open to learning from anyone that is there. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're learning from people also, right, this thing of networking again comes in, like the first thing that you mentioned at the beginning of this episode also. So a lot of people again have this thing that for like it's okay to be an introvert, but then they sort of feel it that it's not right to ask help from someone, or like something around that, and it's very intimidating for them to actually go out, share stuff on LinkedIn, put their work out, and just do all of those things. So what would you suggest in, like, when you specifically talk about networking?
The one profound thing that my father taught me in college, जिंदगी में अगर बड़ा बनना है तो बेशरम बनो. And that's so important. Like, you have to be, like,
Hmm.
shameless when you're going to ask for help.
Yeah.
You will feel like, oh my god, why am I doing this? But
Hmm.
just that 30 seconds of courage that you have asking for help goes a long way. So yeah, I've lived by that. I've been shy in the past, like how to ask for help, but once I did, I didn't regret it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I guess I also have a similar thought process because this podcast sort of began that way only. And then
Yeah,
right now we are having so many amazing guests doing amazing podcasts, and it's just about asking them, like, would you be on the podcast? And it just happens this way. It's
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
It's absolutely
absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
then again, talking about your experience in PICT, and then your, like, basically your experience in bachelor's, about your side projects specifically. So can you talk about those, like, okay, you participated in hackathons, your B project and everything. What was that whole experience like?
I think looking back, it was really fun. At that point, I was just so competitive, and
Hmm.
it's a. I think we spoke about this. It's a zero sum game in college. You're immature. You feel
Yeah,
like if I don't win, others will take that opportunity. It's not like that.
exactly.
I was
Yeah,
very competitive, and I really. But in the process, I learned so much. I didn't win many hackathons, and I'm not really ashamed of admitting that. Uh, but I learned so much in those hackathons. Like, I learned how to work with people. I learned how to problem solve with people. How other people think. I spoke to my competitors after they won. Like, what did they do different? So that's something that I learned. Side projects, I have had massive failures. Like, my final year project, I won't say it was a failure. I had an expectation that this is what the product would look like, but I didn't have the bandwidth or the monetary, the funds to achieve that.
resources. Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I remember we were crowdsourcing some data for that, and I got hate comments like, you guys don't deserve to win this competition, I don't know why you are even trying. I'm like, guys, I am really trying to make this work. I don't need this right now. But that's now I laugh at it. Back then, I
Yeah.
was so heartbroken. I had put like 8 months of
Offended.
effort into it.
Right.
And then I thought maybe it's some friend messing with me, and I just let it go. But yeah,
Okay.
I learned a lot in the process, like, how to
Hmm.
deal with failure, how to work with people, and just enjoying the process.
Hmm.
That's all. I loved learning. I loved building things.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Right. 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 So I guess with this conversation, I think we come to an end with the episode, especially. And yeah, I mean, it was an insightful conversation. It wasn't really scheduled, actually, like, scripted in a way properly. Like, this is what we talk about. But then it went really well. Again, insightful, because I want a lot of people in my batch to know about these little things. Like you mentioned, like everyone will prepare for the tests and everything. But these things that, are mostly about you addressing, like, yourself, your self awareness and everything will take you a long way ahead. And it's a long game. It's not a zero sum game. It's an abundance mindset factor. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So any final words that you would love to share with the students?
Any final words? I mean, just enjoy learning, learn how to learn new things. uh,
Amazing.
your work is not your whole life. Do something apart
Absolutely.
from work, develop a new skill.
Yep.
You need to keep training your
Hmm.
brain to learn those new skills. Maybe it's music, maybe it's dance,
Yeah.
maybe it's running, whatever. So do that.
Yeah.
Just have fun, guys. That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this episode. We had fun. I had fun shooting this. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the episode. If you found it valuable, I kindly ask you to share it with others who may benefit from it. I highly recommend subscribing to our channel and exploring our other podcasts, all designed to support the student community out there. Additionally, make sure to visit the description for important links that will connect you with us. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead. Regards, Beyond Conversations, IEEE Pune section.